Hello everybody and welcome to Breif Toon. Today, we will talk about My Little Pony, a cartoon even grown-up men would sit down to watch. Because not only is it entertaining, but it also beautifully celebrates kindness, diversity, and a lot of friendship. So, without further ado, let's get right into it. My Little Pony is a franchise that takes place in the world of Equestria, a magical land called Equestria filled with beautiful landscapes and towns and magical creatures as citizens. The dominant race is colorful ponies with magical abilities, and each pony has distinct personality traits. Ponies live and communicate with other creatures in peace and harmony, and they all live in a big society. Now, before we understand the historical periods of Equestria, we have to understand that this society is made up of tribes. Each tribe had a duty, and they all worked together for the interests of Equestria. Earth ponies, Pegasi, and unicorns used physical strength to grow food. One used wings to control the weather, and one used telekinesis to raise and lower the moon and sun respectively. Despite their different abilities, all ponies had something in common, which is the cutie mark. The ponies get these marks once they find their purpose and who they really are, whether it's a job, a hobby, or even just a passion. Now, there's another race of ponies called the Alicorns, which is a group that not everyone has the privilege to be a part of. See, Alicorns are royals, and they have additional powers as well as additional responsibilities. At first glance, they seem to be a cross between two different races since they have wings and corns, but in reality, they're not. Oh, and they also rule Equestria, not because they're royals, but because they earned it, and we're going to show you how. And then we also have some villains who feed off different things, like magic, hatred, love, and so on. Hundreds of years ago, in pre-Equestria, and before the pony tribes united, the land that became Equestria was dark and terrorized by monsters created by an evil goat-like creature named Grogar, who fed on the fear of the populace. Grogar used his bewitching bell to steal magic from unicorns. However, a brave unicorn named Gusty the Great and her unicorn warriors rose to challenge him. This brave pony managed to steal away the bewitching bell and banished him from the land, never to return. She also hid the bell atop Mount Everhoof, shielded it by a powerful force field and enchanted winds that kept anyone from reaching it, and finally Equestria knew peace again. However, this, of course, is not the only magical artifact. The Memory Stone was owned by an evil sorceress who used it to become invincible. Another pony named Clover the Clever subdued her and took the stone, but couldn't destroy it or restore the lost memories, so in order to keep it safe, Clover buried the stone in an alternate dimension among some strange rocks. Equestrian tribes lived in peace after many years of these events, until one day when Wendigos arrived and made a blizzard that destroyed the ponies' crops. This caused tensions to rise between Princess Platinum, Commander Hurricane, and Chancellor Puddinghead, and the three tribes decided to separate and move to new lands. Funnily enough, they meet in the same new territory, and they have to fight for it. Wendigos, who feed on hatred, arrived and caused the leaders to freeze, which, in hindsight, is a good thing because their companions got along and the warmth of their love created the fire of friendship, melting the ice and driving the Wendigos away. So yeah, the leaders acknowledged their shortcomings of hate, and they came together to establish what we know as Equestria. Years later, in early Equestria, by Star Swirl's approval, the best magician and mentor, Celestia and Luna are the newly crowned princesses of early Equestria. These sisters are Alicorns, and they're in charge of raising and lowering the sun and moon, taking on the duty of the pillars of Equestria who represent the elements of harmony, a concept that was repeated generation after generation. These pillars are represented through different artifacts that protected the harmony as long as they worked together. This powerful group was brought up together by a weak pony named Stygian. Anyway, the two sisters ruled with harmony, but they still faced threats from monster brothers known as Scorpan and Tyrek, who wanted to rule over Equestria. Upon seeing the beauty and peace of Equestria, Scorpan grew to appreciate it and tried to speak his brother out of the initial plan. But, of course, that didn't work, so he warned the princesses, and they immediately imprisoned Tyrek in Tartarus. Another threat they faced was the sirens, and these roamed Equestria, causing disharmony with their song, feeding off the negative emotions. But one day, that weak pony Stygian, who is also a unicorn scholar at the founder of the Pillars of Old Equestria, warned the 6 founders about the sirens. The Pillars banished them to another world, and you might think that Stygian was appreciated, but yeah, he wasn't. Desperate to be noticed, he made his own copies of the Pillars' artifacts because he thought they could make him a Pillar too. But the Pillars misunderstood and chased him away. So, feeling unappreciated and betrayed, hatred lured into Stygian's heart and transformed him into the Pony of Shadows. This latter attacked the Pillars, who used a rock foundation known as Ponehenge to trap Stygian in limbo. This process requires their own banishment too, however. Willing to sacrifice themselves, they agreed and poured their essence into seeds, planting them in a cave beneath the castle of the 2 sisters, which will grow into the Tree of Harmony that protects Equestria in their absence. Gathering at Ponehenge, the Pillars summoned the Pony of Shadows, and everyone disappeared for 1,000 years into limbo, leaving behind their scattered artifacts. With the Pillars gone, another villain named Discord emerged. He turned Equestria into shambles, at least until the 2 princesses found the elements of harmony in the tree and then used them to cast discord into a stone. But before his defeat, he planted the plunder seeds to steal the tree's magic. But despite losing the elements, the tree remained powerful enough to contain the seeds. In the Arctic north of Equestria, around the same time and much like some previous villains, another one named King Sombra was sealed away in ice by the sisters because he conquered the Crystal Empire. Unfortunately, before his banishment, he cursed the Empire to vanish as a last effect. Now, despite saving their kingdom on multiple occasions, the sisters grew apart because of Luna's jealousy and resentment towards the attention and love the ponies gave to the day. Consumed by darkness, Luna transformed into Nightmare Moon and sought to bring eternal night, which obviously posed a threat to Equestria. In order to protect the realm and restore the balance, Celestia used the elements of harmony to confront Luna, ultimately banishing her to the moon for 1,000 years. So Celestia took over the duty of raising both the sun and the moon, governing Equestria by herself. She grieved for her sister and committed herself to preserving harmony in the kingdom, but she also made sure that the tale of Nightmare Moon served as a warning, so she declared an event to commemorate that. Alright, now we're in the Celestial era when ponies forgot about Luna altogether and Equestria flourished. One day, a family of traveling seed collectors arrived in the capital city of Canterlot, and Celestia welcomed and settled them near a forest. Among these ponies was Granny Smith, who one day found a zap apple that made the seeds grow to their full size immediately. Because of this, she made zap apple jam, and it blew up. Ponies from all different regions were coming over to buy it. The place actually developed thanks to them and became Ponyville, where another family called the Pear family also had their own farm. This obviously provoked a rivalry between them and the Apple family. Okay, that's enough with rivalry. Let's talk about some love. So, despite their family's long-standing feud, Bright Mac, a member of the Apple family, falls for Pear Butter, who belongs to the rival Pear family. Their love blossomed and they secretly courted. One day, Grand Pear decided to move the family to Vanover to expand the business, so the two set up a secret marriage. When the families discovered that, it was already too late because the vows had been sealed. So Grand Pear made Pear Butter choose between her family and Apples, and she chose the Apples. The couple then go on to have 3 beautiful kids. Among them was Applejack, the farmer pony who was responsible for managing the crops until one day when she left for the big city to discover herself, but comes to regret that decision. Sad while staring out the window, a rainbow suddenly flashes by. Pinkie Pie was a pink pony who grew up on a rock farm. Her family was more focused on mining and selling rocks than on having fun, which contrasted with Pinkie's cheerful nature. Pinkie Pie finally unleashes her passion for making others happy upon seeing a rainbow. Rarity was an elegant pony who discovered her unique talent for magic-based fashion design at a very young age. One day, when she was looking for a unique piece for a dress she was sewing, the roar of a rainbow broke a huge rock containing gems. Fluttershy, who, despite being a Pegasi, was shy and unfond of racing, unlike her peers. One day, she falls off a cloud into yet another cloud of butterflies, and that same rainbow flashes. That's how Fluttershy discovers her love of animals, nature, and tranquility. As Fluttershy is discovering herself, her friend and defender from bullies, Rainbow Dash, the reckless Pegasi, starts a race, and instead of seeing the rainbow like the other ponies, she performs it. All of these ponies' destinies in Ponyville are connected to another pony in Canterlot named Twilight. Okay, so back in Canterlot, Princess and Mentor Celestia finds a gifted student because Twilight, a passionate pony, decides to join Canterlot School after seeing Celestia raising the sun. This pony passes the entrance exam after many failed attempts, but on the last one, a phenomenon named Sonic Rainbow happens. This provoked her magical powers and allowed her to hatch the dragon egg, take the dragon, which, by the way, she named Spike, and join Celestia's school. So not only that, but this rain boom gave the 6 ponies symbols on their flanks. Rainbow Dash's mark, the one who caused the rain boom, symbolizes her speed. Twilight Sparkle's symbolizes her talent for magic. Applejack's represents her dedication to hard work and family values. Fluttershy's signifies her kindness, Rarity's reflects her passion for fashion and her eye for beauty, while Pinkie Pie's represents her talent for bringing joy and laughter to others. With these marks, it's clear that the main 6 are the next elements of harmony. Alright, so now back to Twilight, who, after joining the school, got carried away by her studies and never socialized with the other ponies. This made Princess Celestia devise a plan to help her student make some friends. So she sends her to make sure that the preparations for the year's summer celebration on Ponyville are going well. And that's where she meets her new friends. Checking preparations was not the only reason Princess Celestia sent Twilight away. Turns out this latter, and after a study session about prophecies, discovers that Luna will make a comeback on the day of celebration to get revenge on her sister. But when Twilight warns Celestia, she sends her to Ponyville. As the prophecy predicts, Princess Luna does indeed come back, capture Celestia, and promises Equestria an eternal night. Upon seeing this, Twilight rushes to check the prophecies to learn that the only way to defeat Nightmare Moon is by possessing the elements of harmony which are hidden in the Everfree Forest. The main 6 and Spike head to the forest and they face various challenges, but they overcome them simply by contributing their unique personalities and talents to the group. They do finally reach the elements, but Luna arrives just in time and destroys them. So initially, the ponies are unaware of their connection to the elements of harmony, but as the danger increases, Twilight realizes that these elements are associated with the qualities represented by each pony: honesty, kindness, laughter, generosity, and loyalty. The elements are reborn as gems on necklaces and a crown, and with them, the main 6 creates a powerful rainbow that purifies Nightmare Moon, reverting her to Princess Luna when Celestia arrives with the sunrise and explains how Twilight was able to defeat Nightmare Moon because she let the power of friendship into her heart. Anyways, after these events, a new era begins and the sisters reconcile. Princess Celestia assigns Twilight to stay at Ponyville with her new friends to learn about friendship as much as she can. Twilight stayed at the Golden Oak Library and ultimately embraced her new life in Ponyville, which marked the beginning of the main 6's journey. Twilight learns more and more about friendships as the days go by, and she sends letters to Celestia updating her about it. She also meets other ponies, such as the Cutie Mark Crusaders, a group of 3 young ponies that engage in numerous activities and experiments in an attempt to find and get their marks. As for the other main 6, they resume their life until they all get invited to the Grand Galloping Gala. Twilight Sparkle wants to impress Princess Celestia, while Applejack hopes to sell her apple treats, Pinkie Pie seeks fun, Rarity aims to catch Princess Blueblood's attention, Rainbow Dash wants to show off her skills, and Fluttershy wishes for a peaceful evening. However, upon their arrival, they find the gala overly formal and disappointing. individual mishaps ensue, leading to chaos, such as Pinky's antics and Rainbow's storm. Now, despite the night not going as planned, Celestia really wasn't upset because the ponies learned that their friendship and shared experiences were all that truly mattered. One day, Discord escapes from his stone prison, leading to bizarre occurrences in Ponyville. So Princess Celestia orders the main six to confront him. As they venture into the Everfree Forest, they meet Discord, who manipulates them by exploiting their fears and insecurities and setting them against each other. Despite this, the ponies realize that their strength is in their unity, which allows them to overcome Discord's chaos, who, by the way, was a little too confident and underestimated them. They channel the elements of harmony in order to defeat him, returning him to his stone. But, spoiler alert, this is not the last time they're going to see him. But until then, the main six go on with their life as usual. Then, one day, Twilight gets invited to the wedding of her brother, who is the captain of the Royal Guard. Twilight is upset that he did not write to her personally, thinking that the gap between them will grow even more than it did when she moved to Ponyville after his marriage. Upon her arrival, Shining Armor explains to Twilight that he couldn't inform her of his engagement due to a threat to Canterlot's safety, and reveals that Princess Candace, her former full-sitter, is now her sister-in-law. Candace does not act as nice as she used to, so Twilight tries to warn Shining Armor about something wrong with the princess, especially when she sees her cast a spell on him, making his eyes glow green. At the wedding rehearsal, Twilight confronts Candace, but since she's so nice to everyone else, they do not believe her. After Candace runs off in tears, Shining Armor defends her, claiming that her spell was meant to alleviate his headaches. Upset with Twilight, he removes her as best main and suggests that she shouldn't attend the wedding. After this, Candace, or should we say Chrysalis, the shapeshifter who feeds off others' love, traps Twilight in the catacombs beneath Canterlot, revealing her plans for Shining Armor. At the wedding, Shining Armor is in a trance under Chrysalis's magic when Twilight and the real Candace burst in, and this latter's magic breaks the spell. However, the changeling army invades the city. Shining Armor and the main six struggle to repel them, but Candace assures them that her love will give him strength, and with their combined magic, they blast the changelings and their queen completely out of Canterlot. With peace now restored, another wedding is planned, and Princess Celestia proclaims their love undeniable. Okay, so do you guys remember the Crystal Empire that disappeared? Well, it reappeared, which also meant King Sombra's return. Celestia assigned the newlywed couple to become the Empire's protectors, and she also sent the main six to help as a part of Twilight's test. The main six enter the protective force field to reunite with Candace in the castle, comforting her as she struggles to maintain the force field. They then split up to gather information from the Crystal Ponies, who all claim to have no memories of the Empire before King Sombra. After searching, Twilight discovers a history book that mentions the Crystal Fair, a festival to renew a protective spirit of love and unity. With Shining Armor's encouragement, the main six prepare for the festival, and as the Crystal Ponies participate in the events, they begin to recall their memories from before King Sombra's reign. The main six then realized that they were lacking a key component, which is the Crystal Heart. King Sombra had hidden it away, so they searched for it, and the moment they found it, Princess Candace collapsed from exhaustion, causing her protective spell to falter. As the Empire's barrier dissipates, a massive black cloud bearing King Sombra's face envelops the city, allowing him to get to the heart. Luckily, Spike manages to steal it back and give it to Candace, who regains her strength and defeats King Sombra. After this victory, the couple became the new rulers of this empire, and Spike became a hero!
Yo, from this point on, I'm taking over. The first voice is taking a quick break, and now it's my turn to steer the ship. Let's continue the ride. Later on, Twilight Sparkle receives a Book of Star Swirl's unfinished spell from Princess Celestia and accidentally casts a spell that swaps her friend's cutie marks, leading to chaos in Ponyville. Twilight rushes to fix this, assembles and cures them one by one, and finally finishes the secret spell and creates new magic, which is friendship. The creation of this transforms her into an alicorn and earns her the title of Princess. In Canterlot, Twilight Sparkle prepares for her coronation as princess. However, she's anxious about her new responsibilities, and what makes things worse is that Twilight wakes up to find both the sun and moon in the sky, creating a strange day-night scenario. Concerned residents seek her help, and two royal guards inform her that Princess Celestia and Princess Luna are missing. Now that she is Equestria's ruler, at least temporarily, Twilight tells the guards to keep searching, but another guard soon arrives to report that Ponyville is in danger. Back in Ponyville, black vines start growing around her home. Upon hearing the news, Twilight decides to return to Ponyville by flying, which is something she's not used to at all. After a bumpy flight, they arrive to find the main six searching the library for information about the vines. The main six use the elements of harmony to summon none other than Discord, who supposedly redeemed himself and claimed innocence regarding the missing princesses and the Everfree Forest invasion. This is somehow true because Discord suggests seeking Zecora, who offers a potion that requires alicorn magic to activate. Twilight drinks the potion. She gets flashbacks from the past. In those flashbacks, she realizes that the solution for those vines is returning the element of harmony to the tree. Despite their confusion, the main six give her their elements, which Twilight places back on the tree, unleashing a bright surge that disintegrates the spiky vines. As the vines dissolve, Princess Luna and Princess Celestia emerge, praising Twilight's bravery in giving up the elements, while a large flower then blooms at the tree's roots, revealing a box inside with 6 locks. The box is called the Chest of Harmony, and the two princesses do not know how to open it, but they suggest that friendship is what Twilight needs. This is true because after a series of events, Rarity, Rainbow Dash, Pinkie Pie, Fluttershy, and Applejack get keys, which apparently open the heart, while helping the other ponies get their keys, and Twilight is the only one left without one. While all this is happening, a new threat emerges, and Tyrek comes back to Canterlot. He consumes the unicorn's magic, draining his color and cutie mark while growing stronger. With this looming threat, Cadance selects Twilight to stop him. Meanwhile, as Tyrek absorbs unicorn magic, Discord appears and chains him, but he offers Discord an alliance and promises to get all his power back. Now that Discord is evil again, he helps Tyrek to forcefully extract all the magic from as many ponies as possible. Upon knowing this, the princesses conclude that Tyrek will target Alicorn's magic next, and by then, they won't be powerful enough to defeat him. So Princess Luna tells Twilight that they must give up their magic before Tyrek can steal it, and that someone must keep it safe. Celestia suggests that Twilight is the best choice. You might be wondering why, but since Tyrek doesn't know about Twilight's existence, he wouldn't be going after her. Though uncertain about controlling her new Alicorn magic, Twilight still undergoes a ritual to transfer the magic from the other princesses, and Celestia warns her that she must keep this a secret from her friends to protect them. Tyrek seeks the princesses, and because they're stripped of their magic, Tyrek banishes them to Tartarus as revenge. He also learns about Twilight, and as a reward for his efforts, Tyrek gives Discord a medallion. While Twilight is learning how to control her new powers, her friends work on the safety of other ponies, but Discord appears and cages them, leaving them disappointed by this betrayal. This betrayal is followed by yet another betrayal because Discord is excited about ruling Equestria with Tyrek. This latter declares him useless, absorbs his magic as well, and dismisses the medallion as worthless, revealing it was given by his treacherous brother Scorpan. Near the ancient castle, Twilight struggles with her new powers when Tyrek appears and demands her magic. In her attempt to escape, she accidentally destroys the Golden Oak Library. Enraged, she retaliates with a powerful magic blast, leading to a fierce duel where they are evenly matched. But when reaching a stalemate, Tyrek proposes a trade, her Alicorn magic for the release of her friends. Despite their protests, Twilight agrees, and Tyrek absorbs her magic. Feeling remorseful, Discord gives Twilight the medallion Tyrek had given him as a sign of true friendship. Believing it to be the final key for the chest, Twilight and her friends rush to the chest where her medallion becomes the final key. Before Tyrek can intervene, they turn the keys simultaneously, opening the chest and releasing a rainbow blast that gives them rainbow-marked coats, manes, and tails. A burst of light strips Tyrek of his power, banishing him to Tartarus. Twilight and her friends restore the stolen magic to Equestria and free the other princesses. The Tree of Harmony then sends the chest and keys to Ponyville, causing a magnificent crystal castle to rise from the ground. Twilight and her friends admire the castle as their rainbow powers fade. Then Princess Celestia names her the Princess of Friendship and reveals that the castle is hers. As they explore, they find the throne room. 7 thrones await around the map of Equestria, one for Twilight and each of her friends. This great victory does not mean that the main 6's adventures ended, because the map beckoned them to a strange pony village where houses are arranged in 2 parallel rows and all the villagers wear strange, perpetual smiles and share the same cutie mark. As they enter, the villagers warmly greet them because they notice Twilight's status as an alicorn princess and their unique cutie marks. When Twilight asks about any trouble in town, introduce the ponies to the village's founder, Starlight Glimmer, the new villain. Starlight Glimmer welcomes anyone wanting to experience true friendship. She explains that her village is unique in that no one has special talents and that harmony is based on equality. No one is special, no one argues, and everyone is equal. Upon realizing that the main six are a threat to her society, she springs a trap, surrounding them with villagers, removing their cutie marks, and putting them in the vault with the other ponies' marks. While detained, Twilight suggests they pretend to accept the villagers' way of life, and that is how they discover that Starlight Glimmer's equal sign is fake, which then leads to exposing her to the villagers. They splash her with water, which makes her makeup run, revealing her real cutie mark beneath the fake one, shocking the villagers. With her plans ruined, Starlight locks herself in her house as the villagers go to reclaim their cutie marks from the vault. Meanwhile, Starlight escapes with the main six's cutie marks through a secret passage under her bed. With the villagers' help, they eventually corner her, but she blinds everyone with a spell while she escapes into the caves. Then, the jars containing the main six's cutie marks shatter, restoring their talents. One day, on the way back to the Castle of Friendship in the castle throne room, they find Starlight sitting on one of the thrones. Using a magic scroll, she casts a spell that opens a time portal over the cutie map and vanishes, leaving the scroll behind. When Spike touches it, it drags Twilight and Spike through the portal, and they land in Cloudsdale Flight Camp and realize they've traveled back in time after Starlight interfered during Rainbow's race, preventing the rain boom and causing a ripple effect that stops Twilight and her friends from discovering their true talents. This makes us wonder about the grandfather paradox, because since Twilight does get her magic, she can't crack Spike's egg. Should Spike's then be non-existent and Twilight loses her alicorn powers as well? Anyway, due to Starlight's actions, history has changed, timelines are altered, and Twilight keeps bouncing back and forth between the future and the past to fix what Starlight Glimmer did. Equestria is now a desolate wasteland. Starlight, shocked but in denial, lashes out at Twilight for ruining her creation and then takes her to her hometown where she was once best friends with a unicorn colt named Sunburst. After Sunburst saves her from a falling stack of books and earns his cutie mark, he leaves for Canterlot, leaving Starlight feeling abandoned. Fearing loss, she never makes another friend. Starlight then takes them past Cloudsdale, intent on stopping the rain boom and ripping the time travel scroll to make her changes permanent. Twilight pleads with Starlight, but she still refuses to see the value of friendships. Heartbroken over Sunburst, Starlight is encouraged by Twilight to make new friends and face challenges together. As Twilight extends her hoof, she slowly accepts it, and the sonic rain boom goes off uninterrupted. They all return to a restored future, the time travel scroll disappears, the main six accept Starlight as a friend and as Twilight's new student, and another villain is finally redeemed. Soon, a rogue changeling is discovered in the Crystal Empire, which causes the whole city to go into lockdown. Spike eventually finds a changeling named Thorax and learns that he's different from his peers. Having a reputation among the Crystal Ponies as a hero, he manages to convince Shining Armor to accept this changeling as one of them. While all of this happens, Queen Chrysalis returns and captures the main six and the other powerful ponies with her army of changelings. This leaves behind Starlight, Trixie, Thorax, and Discord to rescue everyone from the changelings' hive, and what a weird team of redeemed villains that is. Inside the hive, Discord and Trixie fall into the changelings' traps, while Starlight and Thorax make it to the throne and come face to face with Chrysalis. She drains Thorax's love, which he gained from the Crystal Empire. He resists at first, but when Starlight tells him to share it willingly with Chrysalis, Thorax transforms into a new colorful form. The other changelings, inspired by Thorax, begin sharing love and take on colorful forms. This magical energy causes Chrysalis's throne to explode, freeing the captured ponies. Chrysalis emerges from the rubble, and Starlight offers her hoof of friendship. However, Chrysalis rejects the offer to be redeemed like the others, vowing revenge on Starlight before flying away. Celestia assigns Thorax as the new changelings' leader and signs a peace treaty with them. Sometime after, Sunburst discovers Star Swirl's lost journal entry and informs Princess Celestia and Luna about it. They're surprised to learn what happened to their teacher, while Twilight and her friends are shocked to discover that the Pillars in the Pony of Shadows are real. Intrigued by the Pillars' fate, and unaware of the importance of this sacrifice, Twilight and Sunburst decide to use their knowledge of ancient history to set out to retrieve the magical artifacts used for the imprisonment. After they find them all, they head to Ponehenge to cast Star Swirl's spell, successfully releasing the Pillars and the villain too from limbo. Upon waking, Star Swirl is distressed by their actions and demands they undo it, but Twilight insists they cannot. With his newfound freedom, the Pony of Shadows escapes to regain his power. Soon after, in the Everfree Forest, the main six and Pillars confront the Pony of Shadows, who drags them underground to the Well of Shade. There, he expresses contempt for the Pillars, and Twilight begins to see this as a friendship problem. They cast a spell to open the portal to Limbo, but before Twilight can finish, she notices Stygian's true form within the Pony of Shadows and flies inside. In the darkness, Twilight finds Stygian lamenting his friend's betrayal. Stygian argues he only wanted their respect and took their artifacts to become a Pillar. The Pillars realize their mistake, but darkness starts to consume Stygian again. Twilight offers to help him, and Starlight joins in. Together, the main six and Pillars free Stygian from the darkness, banishing it to Limbo while keeping the elements of harmony intact. Star Swirl apologizes for his pride and thanks Twilight for helping them see their errors. After these events, Spike grows a pair of wings as a result of the dragon's molting. A new student joins Twilight's school. Initially, Cozy Glow presents herself as sweet and friendly, eager to learn about friendship. However, her character develops a darker side, revealing that she is manipulative and cunning and the one responsible for the magic's failure. When Twilight tries to levitate a book, she discovers her magic is fading, and so is everyone else's. At the castle, an emergency meeting takes place where Star Swirl warns that magic could vanish completely in 3 days, so the main six volunteers to check on Tyrek and Tartarus, leaving Starlight Glimmer in charge of the school. Meanwhile, the main six travel to Tartarus to confront him, but he denies the accusations. However, he still offers to provide information in exchange for his freedom. The main six are horrified to discover that Cozy Glow is behind Equestria's disappearing magic. Twilight plans to channel the magic of imprisoned creatures to escape, which somehow works, and with their combined magic, they open the gates of Tartarus and escape just before the doors close. Unfortunately, by then, the sun has set, and all equestrian magic is lost for good. Back to school again. The young six find Starlight Glimmer trapped in the catacombs with the magic of Equestria because Cozy Glow has linked 6 artifacts to drain magic like a magnet, and removing them could deactivate the circuit. When they try to do so, Cozy Glow appears with other students, convincing them that the young six are trying to destroy the school, so they attack them and put them in the magic sphere with Starlight. Cozy Glow begins to lead the students away when the chamber lights up with the magic of the Tree of Harmony, fueled by the young six's friendship and loyalty. As they glow like the elements of harmony, the young six seize the artifacts and deactivate the magic-draining spell, releasing all of Equestria's magic back to its rightful owners. With her magic restored, Twilight teleports herself and her friends back to the school just in time for the Cozy attempts to escape. Cozy is caught, and royal guards escort her into Tartarus, locking her in a cage next to T-Rex. At the young six's graduation, Nase acknowledges he was wrong about Non-Pony's ability to learn friendship and returns the role of principal to Twilight. Little does she know that a bigger responsibility is ahead of her. The day Princess Celestia and Princess Luna summon the main six to announce that, since Equestria is enjoying a long period of peace thanks to them, they've now decided to retire. Twilight is shocked, as this puts enormous pressure on her wings because she's the next in command. In the meantime, the past villains vanish in black smoke to find themselves in a cavern summoned by Grogar, who reveals his plan to eliminate the main six because he was Equestria's monarch and the one deserving of the throne. All this time, he has observed their defeats and the secret of their victories, which is, somehow, teamwork. His first step is to find the bell that contains his power. However, Sombra refuses to join forces, determined to retake the Crystal Empire alone. Grogar challenges him to do so, stating that if he fails, he must submit to Grogar or be sent back to the shadows. Sombra accepts the ultimatum, and Grogar instructs Chrysalis, Tyrek, and Cozy Glow to collaborate in his absence. Meanwhile, King Sombra launches an assault on the Crystal Empire, and upon learning of Sombra's return, Twilight gathers her friends rather than alerting Celestia and Luna because she wants to prove they can handle things on their own. When they arrive at the Crystal Empire, Sombra uses his magic to exploit their worst fears, however, struggle to defeat him as he is more powerful than last time. Eventually, Twilight and her friends join Hooves, igniting their inner magic. With a declaration of friendship is magic, they vanquish Sombra, dispel his crystals, and free the mind-controlled ponies. Meanwhile, the new villain embarks on a journey to find the bell. On their way, they realize that they don't really need Grogar, so they plan a coup. They first absorb the bell's stored magic, then confront Grogar by using the bell again to steal his magic, and that's when the biggest plot twist happens. Turns out Grogar never existed. It was Discord in disguise all along. His plan was to make all the villains work together as a final test for Twilight, which is a horrible idea because it is backfiring. What's worse is that at the same time, a conflict between pony races ensued, and they started to get divided as a result of the villains' plans. By that time, the villains destroyed most of Canterlot and captured the pillars in Starlight, but before they caught the princesses, the main six, Spike, and Discord, Twilight, made a daring escape. Discord wanted to make up for the damage he caused, tricks the villains into freeing Starlight, who then frees the rest of them. They then find Twilight seeking refuge in the Crystal Empire. With the villains and ponies turning against each other, it seems that all hope is lost for Equestria, and that is the end for ponies when, just in time, the Pillars, the Griffins, Changelings, Dragons, and every other creature show up to help the main six in a final epic battle. With a final blast of rainbow magic, Twilight restores the villains to their original strength and brings everyone's magic back. The villains turn into stone, indicating the end of evil. Equestria is built again, and Twilight's coronation takes place where she becomes the new ruler, despite having to leave her friend in Ponyville behind. Many years have passed, and Twilight is settled on her throne and is more confident and mature, ruling Equestria in harmony and friendship, with creatures everywhere settling and roaming Canterlot. Besides being the ruler, Twilight is also a mentor, just like Celestia used to be. She had a student named Lasterdon. Lasterdon questions the curriculum's focus on friendship, saying that she wants an independent course of study. This reminds us of something, just like Twilight did. Lasterdon underestimates the power of friendship. She goes on by saying that at the end of the day, Twilight hardly meets her friends like she used to, and friendships could grow apart because of that. That's when the main six show up and explain that friendships take work to maintain and that life is easier with friends by one side. They also prove to her that despite getting older and achieving everything they can continue to be friends no matter what. That was it for today's video. Tell us about your friendships in the comments below, and see you guys in another video.